Bernie Sanders just dropped a really aggressive potential piece of AI legislation called the American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act. It is a one-time 50% tax on the biggest AI companies, paid not in cash, but in stock. OpenAI, Anthropic, XAI, handing over half of their equity to the federal government with voting shares and board seats attached. His pitch is that AI was built on the collective knowledge of humanity, so the public should own a piece of the upside. Let's get into whether this is serious policy or political theater. George, I know you have a lot to say about this, so I'm going to let you start.
Well, Bernie Sanders is, after this announcement, I'm thinking he's actually a Chinese insurgent, because this is the best way to kill the American AI industry, by placing government officials on the boards of all of the AI companies. You're trying your best. I can't think of many things that would slow them down and kill them faster than doing that. I think I get like what he's saying about like some sort of moral argument about all of the models are trained on the internet, and we all contributed that content in the first place. So like there's something there. There's some little kernel of like injustice, but then his solution is insane and makes zero sense. So having said that, I love Bernie Sanders as a character, and I really like him like in a sitcom kind of way. I like what he did when he talked to Claude that time, and he was asking Claude about if he's spying on us, and like that was a great bit of marketing. But yeah, I don't know. That's my take. He's a Chinese insurgent. Anybody else got takes on Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about him being a Chinese insurgent, but I mean, yeah, absolutely. This would absolutely demolish these companies for sure. I think the idea is really interesting because if you look at Norway, for example, and their sovereign wealth fund that was set up in the 90s, you've got like, what is it? They own 1.5% of all the publicly listed shares in the world, spread across 9,000 companies in more than 70 countries. So they're not like concentrated inside of just AI companies, but instead it's like a global investment, and then it pays out for each citizen, which is really interesting because you essentially create almost like a version of UBI with this sovereign wealth fund to support all of your citizens, which is great. I love that Bernie is getting creative, we can say, but definitely not the best solution for companies that are seeing these ridiculous valuations at a time whenever things are moving as quickly as they are, and it's guys, not stable.
It's like buying Bitcoin reserves when Bitcoin was 140K, like probably.
But is he saying he wants to buy them or just take it? I think he's just saying we take it. We take it by force, right? Is that what Bernie? Yeah. He's just saying we just get this.
Yeah.
Like, if he was saying are we going to buy in, I'd be like, buy in.
What does it mean take it? So they just
like pitchforks. Like
decide.
He wants his bill, his legislation to just like take 50% of these companies.
But my question is why, like, just for the economic value that he thinks they will get, or he also wants to jump into the technology? This is my question.
Well, he wants board seats as well. So he wants a level of control over these companies, not just ownership. But yeah, he wants normal people.
So basically, besides the economic stuff, he also wants, and besides the wealth fund, he also wants to do something with them.
Yeah, he wants governance.
Like a big brother, maybe. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other thing is, like, you can't do the analogy of it's like an oil field. Like, it's very different. Like, oil that exists like a commodity under the ground is not the same as a company built by people that's not how it works. It kind of like kills the whole thing. Like this whole like idea of a startup and the whole idea of building companies gets kind of demolished if after you've done all the hard stuff and kind of pulled the strings and made it happen, and then you got, hooray, you made it. You're all rich. If the government then comes and just like takes half, that seems like quite a Xi Jinping kind of thing to do, if you ask me. So
I'm going to be a little bit contrarian here just for the sake of it, honestly. But realistically, like, would a tech like this have been able to have been built without the human element and everybody's data? And so if the tech is enabled by the population, is it not almost inherently 50% our work that makes it what it is right now? I'm not saying that I like agree with Bernie's standpoint necessarily, but this idea of like, if you kind of have a hand in shaping where the tech goes and what it's capable of doing for the rest of us, should you not have a stake in it?
I think that, if there's content that was used, so like, litigate, there's routes to get money out of these companies, probably. So like legal routes. So for example, you trained on my book, so I should proportionally be compensated something. And I don't know, like that's a very big question, is like, how much should you be compensated? And if everybody should be compensated in some way. So like copyrighted work, what's the legal case there? If those companies also benefited from some kind of public research or like tax profits in some way, then there's another angle. But it's I think it's a little bit like he's kind of like just beyond extreme measures, and to me, I think that also says something. Like, it's obviously just he's just saying this because it's a popular thing to say. Like at the moment that public sentiment is most against AI and AI companies, and we're burning the water, he's kind of saying something like this. I don't know. Yeah.
And also, like, isn't there the risk that then these companies decide, or like future companies, or even these decide to go somewhere else outside of the United States?
Oh,
like
point,
if you oblige me to give you a part of my company, we'll just go somewhere else. Ciao. No.
Yeah, probably to China.
I mean,
that's what his plan is. You see, everything points back to the same thing, which is that what's the outcome? He's driving the best companies and best technology and the best startups to China. And so to me, like, if you turn the camera around on this video, you're going to see a group of men in Chinese men, and they're the ones filming and orchestrating and telling him what to say with a teleprompter. So that's I know I'm being a bit silly. I'm being silly because it's a silly proposal.
Yeah, I think he didn't consider much it's a bit old, the guy, so maybe he didn't consider much the implications that are besides the economic implication. For example, these or that you disincentivize companies to build this kind of stuff, because then if they have a good idea and the company is great, then they could be asked or obliged to give 50% to the government just because a guy decided it. It's weird. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a silly proposal. I agree with George.
And just to throw this out there, I mean, is the US government one that we would trust to make solid decisions about this right now? I mean, or ever? I don't know. But
putting government officials of any kind on board with like decision-making powers in this kind of company, it's pretty bearish. It's pretty bearish. I think the problem is that he would destroy a lot of the value by doing this. What is the value of OpenAI if the government can take half of it and basically filibuster and kill the company from the inside? basically the value of OpenAI drops dramatically. So I think by pushing a proposal like this, if it actually got passed, you would probably destroy hundreds of billions of dollars of value. So that's also something to bear in mind.
Bernie's definitely mixing up the moral argument with the legal one here, I think, where he's saying, back to Anastasia's point, human work created the reality for these models to be able to exist. And there is like a moral argument there, right? They're only valuable and they're only able to get these massive valuations and all of this investment and all of this like stupid amount of hiring and everything else because they've been trained on the work that humans have created for so long. But at the same time, the incentive structure inside of startups and inside of business is completely different from government, right? Whenever you're optimizing essentially within capitalism, you're optimizing for a return on your investment, and you have to be quite smart with your money and strategic and specific, because if not, if you're Anthropic, OpenAI is going to take you over at any time, or the opposite. The government does not live by those same kind of constraints. And so they don't have to be nearly as efficient with their money or as strategic. They have to be strategic in other ways, absolutely. But the last thing that I think a lot of us would want is the government running companies, because my God, I mean, look at any country where that is happening and it's absolutely nuts.
Probably what makes sense if you want to like dismantle this whole thing is let them IPO, let everybody kind of make their money. So like, they get the fruits of their labor. Congratulations. And then like introduce bills about breaking up, I don't know, this cartel of OpenAI and NVIDIA, and like they've got too much power and they've got too much authority and we need to rein them in. But don't do it before they get their payday, man. That's harsh. That's
yeah,
horrible.
Man. Also, like, how do you determine who deserves a percentage of the company? How do you say like, oh, this person made a really good comment on Reddit, so they're going to get 0.1% versus this other person who made 1,000 videos on YouTube that only got 1 view each, they're going to get 0.00. Like, what is the process of that even look like to be able to determine the percentage of shares to go out in a fair way to people?
He's probably like it probably just means the government owns half, and then it's under the public own it if the government owns it. Anyway, yeah, that's otherwise, yeah, we can split it up amongst ourselves like Lord of the Flies style and just kind of we'll kill each other over it. Sounds like a good move.
Sounds like so much fun. Okay, so bearish on the Bernie Sanders AI Sovereign Wealth Fund, but maybe we'll see a different wealth fund for America in the future. Who knows? So our next story is there's a little bit of a situation happening with Polymarket, and man, I have no idea what's going on, which is great. So George, tell us what's happening.
Okay. Maybe pull up. There's a really nice thread post by a guy called Nick Carter who summarizes the whole thing, and he has a take on where it should go next as well. But the TLDR is that Polymarket had there was a contract on Polymarket which said, will MicroStrategy sell some Bitcoin before the end of May? And the news that they sold didn't come out until the 1st of June. So what happened was basically because they didn't announce the sale until the 1st of June, there was some confusion, and Polymarket then clarified it wasn't about actually when the Bitcoin was sold, it was when it was announced. So they changed what the market actually was after everybody had placed their bets and participated in it. So this is a big blunder and an insane thing to do. The credibility of Polymarket's kind of in the balance at this point. They've made blunders like this before. Do you remember the Zelensky suit thing? So that was like, will Zelensky wear a suit by some date. And then there was an argument about whether what he wore was a suit or not. And this all kind of boils back down to having good contracts in the first place. So having clear, like a taxonomy of what kind of market you have. Is it, will a thing happen by a specific date, and what will determine yes or no? And how will we know if that is correct or not? Is it open to interpretation? Which is like very, very sensible questions to ask. And basically what Nick is saying here, which I kind of agree with, is that they need to, well, I don't know if they need to fire the markets team, but I can't say that. But they need to like seriously look at themselves and say, are we spending the time and taking the care required to operate as a serious financial sort of platform? Like imagine I think Galaxy Digital actually had a position open in this market. They were hedging something, right? So like, how could an institution might use Polymarket to hedge another position they have? But in order to do that, they have to trust that Polymarket will actually follow through with the rules that are stated on their website. And then if UMA token holders can just like come in and vote something else, it's insane. Like, so for Polymarket to sort of level up and take the next step and become a serious financial platform, they need to like reevaluate all of this, probably remove UMA entirely, which I agree with. I think that this is something like, it's a governance vote, it's a token holder governance vote thing, which feels like he says an anachronism. It's like a 2022 crypto sort of like anti-Gary Gensler protection mechanism. We're decentralized. It's a decentralized network. We don't need to do that anymore. So CFTC are actually going to be already regulate Polymarket in the US. So, you know, there's going to be more regulation. It's going to be clear. They don't have to do token holder governance votes. They can just operate as a serious platform. So if they don't do the correct thing, like if they don't correctly, it's
give
GG.
me put my screen sharing. This is unfollowable. I did this. No, it's not this.
Okay.
1 second.
Where did it go? That's the.
No, it's not this. Yeah.
I don't
1
see
second.
it.
1 second.
The only one is the chat.
Here.
Oh, okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Give me a sec.
Okay, George, you can talk on this.
Oh yeah, this is reasonably clear. Yeah, going back to the very principle, like what is happening, basically, Polymarket changed the rules of this market, and then the UMA voters voted because there's a dispute, but they voted based on the rules that Polymarket had already changed. So everybody who was participating in this market in May, before they changed the rules, got shafted. That's the story.
What?
So that's basically the story. And they seriously need to look at themselves and consider if they're taking the time required to like actually put up markets with rules that people can follow. Because if you can't trust Polymarket to enforce their own rules, you can't use them as a serious financial platform to hedge. Like as an institution, for example, can't hedge or use Polymarket in any way because they can't trust it. So that's the TLDR.
So I want to know how, from a like communication point of view, would you handle this, Anastasia? If you were a Polymarket head of communication?
That's a really tough one. I mean,
the token holders.
You know, I think you have to be honest and say, hey, you know, we're looking into what happened with this. We want to make sure that everyone who, you know, was on the correct side of things, no matter what time they joined in, you know, gets their fair share, et cetera. I mean, if it were me, I would obviously like chalk it up to being a problem that needed to be resolved. But, you know, maybe they want to fight it. Maybe they don't. I'm not entirely sure. But if you want to keep the community happy, I would just straight up acknowledge like the issue and tell people that you're working to resolve it, and if it has to be done individually, so be it, and that you're working towards making sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen in the future, that the contracts are a little bit more clear. And you know, this was a very interesting learning experience for all of us. I mean, that would probably be the way that I would go about it, but that's a sticky situation right there.
Yeah. The biggest thing would definitely be just like acknowledging everybody and making sure that they feel heard so they don't spin out and create 1,000 articles about how they got scammed.
Exactly.
You don't want that.
It's too late for that. They got me on here now as well. Like they got like a ton of people. They got a ton of people saying like this kind of thing. Yeah, they really need to just up their game on having clear, precise markets and then following through with the rules.
Have they actually come out and like acknowledged anything yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No. Uh-oh.
So, I mean, you know, there are lawyers involved. People are already taking legal action around this. So
I'm looking at their X account now to see if anything was acknowledged. And I mean, they post a lot. Obviously, they're doing a lot of news, but I'm not seeing anything. Oh boy.
I think that would be like just about the worst tactic, is saying nothing at all.
Yeah, this is
great job on that.
Good job, Polymarket.
If you need some help, we're here. We can talk to you. We're happy to help sort those things out.
Yeah, we know already the situation. Contact us. Anna already know what to do.
Yeah,
no, but but yeah. Do you think this will affect also like the Polymarket usage in the normies landscape? Because the question is, now Polymarket is well known everywhere. Like even my husband knows what it is because Drake mentioned it in a song as well. I don't know. So this kind of things is a bit behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Because it's related to governance stuff, you know, yeah, it's behind the scenes. So do you think this will like harm the Polymarket? Yeah.
They're still like an entertainment. So like they're halfway right now. They're halfway between like an entertainment platform and like a serious financial platform sort of thing. So they still like have these ridiculous rigged markets. Like, will this guy, Lord Miles, will he make it 30 days in the desert without, like, I can't even remember. It was like a stupid challenge, like Mr. Beast. Like, will Mr. Beast raise $12 million? Of course he will, because that's why the market exists. So he could like build suspense. They still have entertainment, and they still have like silly, like maybe some sports betting things, you know. So, but they won't level up to the next big boy level and you know, be able to have, because like I meant, like Galaxy Digital were in that market. They have a position in the MicroStrategy market that just settled, and they're like, what the hell? Like, this is insane. We just got rugged. So yeah, to get the big boy volume, to get the big boy like participants, and move away from just kind of entertainment finance stuff, then which is probably what they want. Then yeah, they need to sort their shit out basically.
What a mess. Ugh.
Yes, I saw a Kalshi advert in a random golf video the other day too, which is insane. I can't remember who it was. It was like some PGA pro. He was like, by the way, guys, this video is sponsored by Kalshi. And I was like,
no, yeah, but the Drake thing is even worse because it's hidden in the song. So you don't even know if they pay for it or it's just him actually using Polymarket. But yeah, but a lot of crypto stuff are now sponsoring the, but you know, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, you know, if Drake's mentioning Polymarket and we've got like all of these kind of more mainstream references, but I mean, I remember like when the crypto.com arena was like became the crypto.com arena, and how that really felt like this new transition or merging into a time where like you know, the everyday regular person going to a sports event is going to have the word crypto in their mouth. And I guess that's like changed a lot and adapted a lot over the years. But yeah, like to see Polymarket showing up in a Drake song, I mean, he's always desperate to stay relevant, if anything.
Okay, we are going to jump into our last segment today. So let's get into it. Why does it? This just really loves you,
Take it away.
It's all you, Anastasia. Is crypto so over? Okay, here we go. So we've got a couple of really different signals happening in crypto right now. On the one hand, we have got some of the largest financial exchanges creating stable coins and all of this institutional signal, and we've got Polymarket with mass adoption, and we're seeing all of this PMF across a handful of products. But then we also have MicroStrategy selling a small percentage of their Bitcoin and the market absolutely freaking out. We've got Brian Armstrong launching a company called New Limit. They raised $445 million to bring longevity science into clinical trials, which is very exciting. So he seems to be expanding a little bit into longevity and biotech and research, and away from solely being a crypto CEO. So we're at this weird point where we're trying to determine, is crypto so over or is it finally mainstream? And the reason that we brought Anastasia on today is because she actually wrote a fantastic piece about this recently. So Anastasia, while I am pulling up your article to share here on screen, maybe you can give us just a general overview of your thoughts around everything that's happening in the industry right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess coming at it from like a PR or media perspective, I think a lot of the trends, you can kind of see them trickle into the media, and it's like it's a symptom of what's going on with the rest of the world. Because if, you know, mainstream population is looking more into crypto, if they're thinking about it more, if they're investing more, then it's going to be those mainstream publications that start pivoting and shifting to bringing more of those stories to the table. And so like over the last year, really like condensed within the last 6 to 9 months or so, we've seen a lot of the large crypto media publications either completely pivot or shut themselves down or let go a large number of their staff. Blockworks basically like pivoted into being more of like a research firm. Cointelegraph was unfortunately de-indexed from Google. So they lost like 90% of their viewers within a couple of weeks. DL News and Bankless have, you know, let people go. There's just, they're kind of like dropping like flies. And it's been a huge concern, especially like for, you know, the crypto PR person. We have all these relationships. We know all these people. You know, where are they going to go next? Where are the stories going to go? Who are we going to be in contact with? But I've noticed not just a shift in where the stories are being told, but also like where the crypto people are going to read them and to write them. And I think that kind of transition that we're seeing is indicative of the larger population having more everyday interest in what's going on with crypto, because crypto is now starting to become more synonymous with finance. And we're seeing that, you know, with announcements like what's going on with Visa and Stripe, with their stablecoin payments. We're seeing, you know, the prediction market stuff that's going on with like Polymarket. And, you know, so as more people are more interested, they're going to go to their more familiar and trusted news sources for that information, which means we're going to be seeing, you know, the Forbes, Fortunes, Bloombergs, like all of those larger business and tech-oriented publications having more of a focus. And that's actually, we've seen that with Forbes having Web3 or Forbes Web3. Like a year ago, they had their own little separate arm for Forbes Web3. Now it's just, you know, Forbes, and they've got a money section that has like all of the crypto stuff in it. All of the crypto stories show up on the Forbes Twitter now. It's just news. And so though it's like a really painful time, and though we're seeing like Brian Armstrong, do a biomedical engineering company, and Vitalik is writing science fiction stories, and Charles is like, taking a hiatus. I don't think it's a death sentence. I think it's just like a painful transformation.
This is so interesting. Okay, I had no idea that all of this was happening, and the fact that you've been able to summarize it because you looked at publications itself. I mean, I think it's compelling because this is definitely echoes a lot of what we're seeing in the market. Even in marketing itself, crypto companies are growing up, right? Like, we're kind of getting away from the days of people doing insane stuff on Pump Fun for for donations, and finally becoming a bit more institutionalized. And you've got all of these major players and like legacy companies that are interested in onboarding crypto and using it now. So on the one hand, it's almost like crypto is so over and mainstream at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because we have the old culture, kind of this idealistic, or this niche, exclusive, in-crowd type of group and experience that doesn't exist nearly as much anymore. And that was what drew a lot of people to the industry, especially during like 2020, 21, maybe 22. And now we're going more institutional, which means for crypto specifically, so much changes, not just where people get their news, but the way that you market these kinds of companies is completely different, and how you talk about them is different. The narratives are changing, and it's almost like everything is just growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said it more succinctly, honestly. Yeah, we're seeing the story kind of change. We're seeing the audiences kind of change. And I mean, when I got into crypto in 2021, the most cliche phrase at the time was that, we're building this thing to onboard the next billion users. And it's like, okay, well, if we take a step back and we think about what that really means, onboarding the next billion users, then that inherently means that crypto can't be exclusive anymore, that it can't be this private, you're in the know type of club experience. And maybe there can be some small niches for that. Like, there's always going to be the Bored Apes, there are always going to be little, niches. But if we want to take this mainstream and we want our next door neighbor or our dad or our grandmother to be getting involved with it, then it cannot be a niche anymore. The niche has to die. And I think that's what's happening right now.
I agree, guys, but since I'm the skeptical player here,
come give it to us.
No, I completely agree. And to be honest, it's something that I'm trying to pass for years. But the niche, the pumped up fun, the yapping, these kind of things always happens cyclically when there is a bull market. So they will come again for sure. Now we are quiet and building and thinking about how to bring the next billion users, really, because we are in a bear market. So this is what I've noticed. So I'm in this industry since 2018. So this is the third probably bear market for me. Like yapping, building very seriously, yapping, very seriously building. So I don't know. I expect to see something else. For example, meme coins was the last. So pumped up fun was the last thing. prior to that, what was there, George? Probably NFTs era, like more.
Yeah, NFTs. And then, I mean, before that, we still had, 2018, I remember there was Bitcoin forks, and you know, people were just like forking Bitcoin. Dogecoin was around then. Like, anyway, I mean, like, so it's definitely, the way that people engage with crypto most of the time is they want to invest in the token and see it go up. And so that's how they would engage. And then that's the kind of news, things they want to read about. And onboarding the next billion means to those people, you will have 1 billion people to sell your tokens to who are going to buy after you. And so it's like, yes, let's onboard the next billion, AKA let's get 1 billion people to come and buy after I bought. But then it changes, like, exactly, it just becomes part of like the financial infra soup, and then so the coverage changes to suit that, for sure.
So I think every bear market helps us to be more and more, into the mainstream and into the traditional landscape, to enter more and more, into this, as you said, girls, into this normal and not niche and clubbing era, probably, which is time as well. But
So go ahead, George.
But I mean, I was going to say about like, we all know that chart of like early adopters, then laggards, like, and I think people used to think about that adoption curve within a cycle, or as if like, if by the end of 2023 you had laggards. But I think it's more like there's a bigger super cycle adoption curve that's above all of these, from like 2013, 14 to now. And maybe now we're finally getting into like some kind of next step away from early, quote unquote, early adopters. But I mean, it's there's no one size fits all thing. I think because nobody really knew what crypto would be used for until pretty recently. And there's obviously got some kind of market fit payments and finance things. So that's great. But yeah, that's kind of what's changing at the moment. And there will be more speculative things. Problem is, stocks are too hot and too sexy and too interesting right now for anybody to pay attention to crypto. So everybody's basically selling their Bitcoin and going to chase the next semiconductor stock at the moment.
SaaS stocks, guys. What are we doing?
Like whatever Jensen says at a conference, like, you know what? I think this is a runner. Literally, like he can stand on stage and pump stocks 4x, like just by calling like tickers, off the top of his head. So that's just like that's where the casino is for now. Casino will come back, probably. To what degree it comes back, I don't know, because before nobody could, like, there was some scarcity of tokens, but now anybody can just like crank a token out. So it makes it very hard to get momentum, very, very difficult to get people behind any given token at any given time. But I'll stop rambling, but like that's like, yeah, agree, like things are changing, but yeah.
Sorry guys, I've got to hop. This has been so much fun though. Thank you so much. I love talking with all you guys about this stuff. But I'll see you.
Thanks for joining us, Anastasia. Bye. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you at the next gambling Ponzi.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes.
Let's see if Stretch is really going to unwind or not. I think that's the big question in everyone's minds at the moment. So that's the Ponzi that I'm watching.
I believe. All right. Thanks, George. Thanks, Maria.
Ciao, guys.